Thank you, everyone, for joining us for this bonus episode of Gotta Rank 'Em All. We go into heavy spoiler talks about Pokemon Legends Arceus. We are all in the post game. Also, we had some unfortunate technical difficulties through the first half of this recording. Hopefully, it's not too bad audio-wise, just some minor audio glitches. Thanks for listening. Welcome to Spelunkers, a place for exploring video games and nerd culture. I'm Ryan. This is Gotta Rank 'Em All, bonus style. Tonight, we're not ranking any Pokemon. Chris and I have fallen head over heels in love with Pokemon Legends Arceus, and we got good friends of the show, Bob Buel and Brian. Wow, I really feel terrible. I just had a brain fart on Brian.
Wow.
It's Keese.
Brian Keese Jr.
He's only been on my show a dozen times. It's fine.
Wow, that unofficial punk title is disappearing faster than a mistress.
Talk about shrinking balls. I mean,
you can get that title, Bob. You can get that title. Reach, buddy.
I'm already the bad boys of draft punks. I don't know if I could use more titles.
That's a better title, honestly. We're all very excited about Pokemon Legends Arceus. We wanted to get together and just shout to the world our love, our joy, maybe even some of our hate.
How could you, sir?
No, maybe not hate. You know, the nitpicks. Talk about the things we wish could be better. Maybe if Game Freak listens to this, they'll hear us. You know?
They'll hear us, but they won't do anything about it.
Yeah, that's fair. But we'll feel better that they heard us at least.
Okay.
We'll feel heard. So this is Pokemon Legends Arceus. Let's just start quick. Bob, overall impressions, playtime, what's your team looking like? Give us a quick rundown.
Currently, really, really loving it. I just went off on Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl. I kind of just fell into a weird rut with that game where I just could not stop playing it and doing all the dailies and all that kind of stuff. So as soon as I got done with that, I rolled right into this game, which is so perfect because it's set in that same world, it's set in the same everything. And yeah, absolutely loving it. I think I'm currently about 40 to 50 hours in, beating the main game, beating a fair chunk of the post game. Still trying to catch down friggin' Thunderous or whatever. He keeps running away from me. My team, oh boy. They're all around level 80. We'll get to exactly who's on the team, but I went with the grass starter, and he was cute as heck, and made a lot of changes throughout the team, but very happy with them.
Bob is to Rowlet as Ryan is to my last name. Could not remember the name of his starter Pokemon there. I hope you all picked up on that.
Little green fella with the bow tie, right? But no, really, really loving the game, loving the exploration of it. I can count on multiple hands the amount of times I audibly gasped at like seeing a wild Pokemon that I didn't expect to be in the game, and just going like, "Oh, what joy! Look at it!" Like I love that feeling, and I am having more fun just roaming. I don't need to do a mission. I just like exploring as much as anything else. So really, really loving it.
Awesome. Brian, same question.
Yeah, I'm in a pretty similar boat to Bob, actually. I'm about 50 hours in. I am wiping up some of the side quests. I've finished every story quest now except for the deified Pokemon. Which
Seek
is
out all Pokemon.
Final quest, yeah. And you have to mop up some of those side quests in order to complete that quest, unfortunately. But I'm in the same boat as Bob. I'm just absolutely loving this game. I started off with the fire starter. What's his name? Cyndaquil, that's right.
Yeah,
who is now a level 95 Hisuian Typhlosion, and he is really the only like anchor on my team. Everything else I am kind of rotating and swapping out as I go, trying to either fill in gaps in getting the complete sign on my Pokedex, or getting evolutions to actually finish the Pokedex for that Arceus quest. Currently, like at this moment, I wish I'd brought my Switch up here so that I could open it up to look at it. I know I had Cherim on my team because that's one of the earliest quests you get and one of the toughest ones to finish because you have to level that sucker up a lot to get the move you need to complete his Pokedex. So
Yeah, I managed to find like 3 Cherums, which let me complete the quest because I was looking forever for a Cherubi, and Cherums are so much easier to find. Have you guys found a Cherubi yet? I've only found one, and it was impossible.
I've only found Cherubis. I found 3 Cherubis and no Cherums in the wild. So I evolved
one of those Cherubis.
Yeah, I evolved 1 to a Cherum, and then you have to get it all the way up to level 47 to learn Petal Dance, which is what finally allowed me to complete its Pokedex entry. So it was sitting in my party for a long time.
Could you have gone to the TM store and just learn now?
No, I went into the Move Master and asked her to teach Petal Dance, and she said nay. So yeah, it was unfortunate, but finally got there. I think I have 1 side quest remaining, and then there's 1 I don't have unlocked because I didn't get Brilliant Diamond or Shining Pearl, and it only unlocks if you have a save file from those games. So I'm gonna try to borrow a copy from someone at some point. But yeah, I'm in love with it. I'm gonna continue to play it even after I finish the quests. I want to keep hunting and keep looking for shinies and all that fun stuff. It's a brilliant game.
No, Brilliant was last November, Brian.
Oh, you're right. My bad.
It's a shining game.
Bob, I see what you're doing.
Yeah.
Chris, your thoughts, impressions, team starter?
I love this game so much. I'm having so much fun running around and exploring. I feel like I've basically explored everything at this point. I think I'm missing 8 Pokemon before I'm finished with the Pokedex. Yeah, it is the most fun I've had with a Pokemon game in a long time, and based on previews, I thought this game could possibly be amazing, possibly be hot garbage, and I'm glad that it leaned more towards the amazing side of the spectrum. Ryan, I think you and I agree that this is our favorite Pokemon game now. Like it blends the old turn-based battle system with, it makes it more challenging, and also blends it with like the sense of adventure that we've always wanted for Pokemon, that we felt from Pokemon the very first time we played it, and it does that so well. It's ridiculous. The starter I picked is Rowlet. I don't really like any of the Hisuian evolutions, I'll say, but I don't know, he's fine.
Yeah, we are in agreement. This is my favorite Pokemon game. I think you nailed the head.
Nailed the head.
That's so crazy to me. That's so crazy.
Where was your
favorite
though? Like
I guessed, but it's still so new. I don't know.
Yeah,
I get it.
Nostalgia tints my viewpoint on this so much that I don't think I could go that far. But I'm having so much fun with this. Like 6 months from now, I might say that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is the most I've cared about a Pokemon game in a very long time. That I will give you. But and for reference, because I'm probably going to mention this more than once, but we recorded an episode of my show Draft Punks with Ryan and Chris earlier this week, where we ranked our favorite Pokemon from this region. Yeah, and we talked about this there as well. But for me, it's still got to be gold and silver. Just getting like the 16 badge run is so awesome, and having 100 new Pokemon on top of all the ones you already loved from the first game. That was perfect for me.
Now, I mean, anyone who listens to the show knows I am a shameless Gen 2 stan.
Mm-hmm.
But as someone who has played 6 of the 8 generations within the last year, this is my favorite Pokemon game.
Gosh. All right.
It scratches an itch. I mean, it's one of the best games for me that I've played in a while. Like, I have trouble. I would have to sit here and think for several minutes the last time a game kept me enraptured from like 10 a.m. to 2 a.m.
I will say it is a rare game. Yeah, it's a rare game where when I'm not playing, I'm thinking about what I'm going to do the next time I pick it up, for sure. Like I'm walking around holding my new baby in my arms. I should be focusing all of my love and attention on him. And all I'm thinking about is where can I go find a Munchlax in the Obsidian Fieldlands. This baby is cute, but I can get a cuter one in the
Make sure to never show him this podcast episode. Yeah, no, I love this game. I adore it. I'm maybe a little bit less time in than all y'all. Like on that high 30, low 40 range, roughly. I'm into the post game. I'm like, I haven't touched, but I got the mission for Thunderous, Landorus. So I'm like at that point, but I broke there to do some side stuff, and I just haven't played it in a couple days. But
Ooh, he's falling off. He's falling off.
Call yourself.
I feel bad.
And shout outs to the folks who are like 40 hours deep and haven't left the first area yet. I have this
Crazy.
buddy. He's in our local Pokemon Go community, and he and I have been talking a lot on Discord about this game. And he is at a 9th star member of Galaxy Team, which I just hit today. And he just went to the Crimson Mirelands for the first time last night. So he got 9 stars in the first area. It's like your Pokemon are gonna be so over leveled for the rest of this game, but that's impressive. Like to have that much dedication.
Yeah, getting to 9 stars is no joke. Like getting to 8 stars, easy enough, but then it's another 10,000 points on top of the 20,000 you already have to get to 9, and then you have to double your points from 30 to 60,000 to get to rank 10. I am probably not gonna hit that. I'll be honest.
What do you get for rank 9?
Some rare candies and rocks.
Yeah, it was
grit tones or something like that.
I mentioned earlier that my Typhlosion is level 95. He was level 85, and then I hit rank 9. So it was like 10 rare candies and like 15 grit gravel pebbles. I don't know. The grit stuff is
yeah. I love the grit change, honestly. I don't know that I love like the name, but that system to handle EVs over whatever the hell it was in the old games that, you know, mathing back and forth. This is so much more straightforward.
Yep. Yeah, my Typhlosion now has perfect EVs across the board, which is very fun. So it was a long time to get there, but it was a lot of fun finding those and eventually leveling him up all the way. So
yeah, I would like if they I would like if they keep effort levels like as they are. I think they named them effort levels now. Like EVs, whatever. I hope they keep them as they are now, but I hope they do change it to like what they had in the old system where you had limits. So like instead of being able to level everything up to 10, you have like a 35 total limit or something. So you still have to specify certain stats, because that's just more interesting from a competitive standpoint to have to like make a Pokemon specifically for a purpose.
Yeah, I think I see that, but there's no competitive in this.
That's true. That also needs to come back if they're going to keep this going forward.
No, this is exactly the point I was about to make, so I'm so glad it got here. I think part of what I really am loving about this game is how much it's willing to throw out from the past. And that's something that the Pokemon series has not had a chance to do for multiple reasons. For the fan base that's always asking for, yes, give us what we previously had and better and more. And just the fact that like they're kind of grandfathered into it. The whole gimmick is catch 'em all, and every generation they come out with 100+ new Mon to throw onto the mix. And for this game, they were at a very advantageous position where they could say, okay, we're just going to cherry pick 250 something, 60 something, 70, whatever the final number is, and just say, those are the Pokemon. That's it. We don't have to be beholden to this random move that someone made in Gen 3 that now is going to screw us over 14 years later. We don't have to be beholden to this one Pokemon that like changes the game that we thought was really cool in like Gen 5, but like completely shifts everything about it. They can just build everything from the ground up. And me personally, I hope the Legend series runs parallel with the traditional, like, you know, Colors series. I don't know whatever you want to call it, the mainline series. Leave all the competitive stuff over there, and that's fine. And I'll still play those, but for someone who never looks at EVs, IVs, the only EV I want is one that turns to Umbreon. Thank you very much. Like, I don't look at any of that competitive stuff. Me personally, I just like playing the game. That's it. So like the fact that like Trick Room is just like, no, we don't need that anymore. Get rid of it. Like, that's not a move. Sure, that's a move in competitive, but like, I'm not going to need it when I'm fighting a alpha Snorlax out in the wild. I love that they were just not beholden to what happened 24 years ago. They can just make a new game that's fun for today, and they did it, and it rules.
Yeah. And the competitive stuff aside, I know you mentioned, like they said, we're just gonna have these 200. I think is it 237, Chris? Is that the number in this game?
I think it's well, it depends on if you have other save data and stuff, right? I think it's 242
Right.
total with all of those.
Oh, okay.
But like this rumored DLC in April, there's a 100% chance they're adding more Pokemon to this game, right? Like Charizard is gonna end up in this game at some point. There's no chance he's not. So that's like I love that April rumor date, because that's right about when my interest will probably start to finally wane. And so like now it's like, all right, now we're gonna throw in another 50 Pokemon that you can catch or whatever. I'm excited for them to keep adding to this. But I agree with you, Bob. I like this idea of keeping this to sort of a separate, less competitive entity in the franchise.
Yeah. It just feels to embrace the exploration, explore the new side of things, explore this 3D space. They don't have to put a Wailord in because they decided 15 years ago that Wailord is like the size of the Titanic.
Okay,
so
but
like
how cool would it be to see a Wailord, man? Come on.
it would be phenomenally cool, but like again, the fact that like in Shining Pearl or something, I'm sure someone complained because they're like, oh, I could have a Wailord, but it can't follow me around because it's not the size of the Titanic. And it's like, well, yeah, because they have to make everything work for the new gen stuff. Like it's not that easy. And so this game allowed them to start fresh, and I absolutely love it. Even the little changes, like to Frozen isn't there. Now it's Frostbite. Love that. Or what was it? It's not Sleepy, it's Drowsy, because Sleepy was just too overpowered. I'm just like, oh, that's good. It's just a different version of Paralyze, or Frostbitten is a different version of Burn. I love those little changes. Just makes that battle flow just a little bit cleaner in this game.
Yeah, well, I think battles have to flow better because they are so much more challenging. If you are unprepared or you come across an alpha, you can get whooped quick in this game, which I think is something a lot of fans have been asking for a long time, is a more challenging Pokemon game.
Which is interesting, yeah, for how generally like non-competitive this game does feel. The battling was a lot tougher. There were fights where I legitimately had to like run away. I ran into a level 85 Alpha Garchomp the first time I went to the Icelands and said, yeah, you know what? I'm going to save you for like 10 hours from now.
We all met that Snorlax.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
before this.
Okay.
Oh, no, please. Go ahead.
No, please go ahead, Bob.
Oh, too kind. Right before the Snorlax, there's a little red crystal, and I popped it open, and a Graveler came out. And again, it was just like 20 levels higher than anything else I had faced up until that point, because all I had was like a little electric dog or whatever, and I couldn't, I couldn't
Shanks.
actually.
His name is Shanks. Good God,
respect.
So the fact that I couldn't beat that Graveler was like that giant red-eyed Snorlax in the distance. Like I'm gonna have absolutely no shot on. Or same thing, like the Rapidash out in the field. Like, oh, I love that. Like you're gonna get there one day.
I didn't even see Rapidash or Ponyta. Like that little corner where Eevee is also, I just somehow avoided until the post game. I never saw Ponyta until the post game. Everyone's talking about the shiny Ponyta you get from an early quest. What are you guys talking about? You're crazy. I got it super, super late. But yeah, I had that exact same experience. I did kill that Graveler, but also I was like, that thing was level 28, and I'm not going to mess with the Snorlax that's right next to him. It's absurd.
Yeah, and what's interesting though is if you're sneaky enough, a lot of this stuff you can catch without even having to fight it. Like the catch rate on all of the Pokeballs seems much higher than in the standard games, especially if you get that back strike. So I was catching stuff that was like 20 to 30 levels over what I was carrying on my team, just because I was good at sneaking up on them and getting in the grass and hucking an Ultra Ball at its back,
Yeah, I got that level 69 nice Alpha Empoleon when I was like, my team was like level 40 or something. And I was like, I want to use this, but also it won't listen to me because I did not have enough stars.
in that back corner by like what is it, Turnback Cave or whatever, right?
Yeah. And like the top left of that map.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah, even
Yeah,
on that map, like it took me a while to find even where the Growliths are. Like it shows up in the story so
Where?
early, and I was like,
Where are they?
They're on a mountain.
they're on a mountain in between where Turnback Cave is and the whole rest of that beach crescent area. Like if you use your bird to get all the way up there on the flat tops of the mountains,
Okay.
Growlith City, baby.
All right.
And Growlithe is one of the Pokemon with the Hisuian variations. I want to ask Bob because I've heard about a little bit of this from Chris and Ryan now. But Bob, like, what is your favorite of the new variations, if you have one?
Excellent question.
I know it's not Sneasler, but
it's not Sneasler, shockingly. The guy who just creeps around and sulks. And I can guarantee you Sneasler has a wallet chain. Like I just like just a bunch.
Wow.
Just really no, I like Sneasler, but I like a fair bit of them. I actually brought up a list here. I really do like Growlithe. I don't love Hisuian Arcanine, but I really like Hisuian Growlithe. I think it's very cute. Also, shout out to the greatest named Pokemon possibly ever, Overquill.
It's a great name. Now, what do you think of that Pokemon though? There's a division here that you need to help us break.
Fine.
Okay.
We had a lot of arguments on Draft Punks this week.
That Pokemon is so bad. I hate it.
Yeah.
I don't
Great
love
name.
the design, but the name is
Great
the
name.
award for Pokemon sounding most like a James Bond villain goes to Overquill.
That's great. No, the one I think I love the best is Ursaluna. I think that
Wow,
design
yeah.
is super duper cool. I always liked Ursa Ring for some reason, so having an evolution to it that's even more cosmic, I guess. I don't know. Very cool.
Bob, what if I told you somebody first picked that in the draft? Would that lock in your vote?
Have you actually gotten an Ursaluna for your team yet? It took me a long time to realize that I could actually get those Pokemon like in my roster as well. I thought they were just like special mounts. I didn't realize I could actually get them for fighting also until like 30 hours in.
I have a Weirdeer.
Mhm.
Weirdeer.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do Ursaluna though. I'm not. I'm sure I can, but I'm not positive how.
I will spoil it for you if you like.
Sure.
There is an evolution item called the Peat Block, P-E-A-T.
Yeah, I got plenty of them.
And you have to use it during a full moon. So you might have to spend a lot of time at your tent. Like I think I had to sleep like 15 nights in a row to finally get a full moon.
Yeah.
But
Gotcha.
there is also a side quest that involves a full moon, so you can time those together. And yeah,
Oh.
but
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that like moon cycles were a thing in this game until I got that quest. So
Yeah,
I was
each
today's years old.
Yeah.
each moon phase lasts like 2 in-game days, and you can't see the moon until like it's somewhere between like 30 seconds to a minute into the night. So even like once you fast forward, you have to wait a little. Well, if you're trying to evolve, it's easy because you just see if it'll like use the peat block. But for the Clefairies, like I had to wait a minute every time and then fly up.
Yep. Yeah, Clefairy's in this game, Bob. I don't know if you knew that.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. Can't wait to find one though.
I didn't
News to me.
know it either until I was trying to complete my Pokedex, and I was like, "What's this question mark?" Yeah.
But you see how like even this really does remind me of like old school like Gen 1, Gen 2 Pokemon where you're like, you know, at least for me, because I'm old, I was like on the schoolyard talking to kids and they were like, my buddy swear there's a Yoshi in it. Like, no, there's not. Shut up. And it's like, I saw, you know, if you do this and this and this, like you can find, you know, there's a secret item in the Mewtwo cave, or there's this, you move the truck to get Mew. Like all these weird rumors that formed around Gen 1 and Gen 2 that were such exploration based. Look at this. It's literally happening right now. We're figuring out what's in the game, and there's something so exciting about that. Like, to me, that means that they nailed it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they really did. The sense of exploration, there's always something to be found around every corner, whether it's a Pokemon or a crafting item you want. And the crafting in this game, Oh, feels so good. It scratches that itch so hard. It feels just like Monster Hunter, not necessarily the Monster Park gathering, but the gathering other things to make all the accessories and potions and bonuses you want to have as a hunter. Like they're uh
How much of that stuff do you guys use? I make potions, I make Pokeballs, and every once in a while I'll use stealth spray. That's about it.
I carry stealth sprays, smoke bombs. That's about it. I'll make cakes if I know I'm trying to like catch specific alpha and I know what they like.
We know who the Monster Hunter fan is in the group. Is what I'll say to that. I use the stealth bombs and scatterbangs just as a way to get them out of my inventory. I pick them up. I'm like, all right, I'll use these in my next encounter just to get rid of them, so I can pick up more stuff that I can sell at a high price.
I still have not fed a single Pokemon a berry, even though there's a bunch of Pokedex things for that. I'm just like, no.
Yeah,
I don't know what you like, and I don't care.
I got by accident. There's one for Krogunk that is scare them off with a scatterbang, and I got it by accident just because I happened to have one while I was going after an Amorous and tried to use that on her, and it scared off a Krogunk, and I saw the little pop up in the top left corner. It's like, oh,
Cool.
Awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, this game's very good at that, constantly giving you little meters going up or check marks constantly. Little XP. You throw a Pokemon out to get some Tumblestone XP. If you catch a Pokemon, little check mark, like constantly giving your brain those little dopamine hits of like good thing.
Yeah, it's a weird comparison, and I don't think anybody would be making it if it weren't for the fact that they release so closely to each other. But it reminds me of Nobody Saves the World. Just constant dopamine hits from bars going up, numbers going up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see the comparison. So we've been talking a lot about our experience, the mechanics, what we've been doing, the exploration. Let's talk about, at least for a little while, the story.
The what?
The lore.
The lore.
There's some great
There's a story
lore.
in this game.
There's a story in this game.
The window dressing that allows us to go on a Poke Safari. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Ryan, going forward in every episode, we have to grab the Hisuian Pokedex entry for every Pokemon because they're written by that professor and he doesn't know what he's talking about, and it's great.
So I'll start this off by saying the night the game came out, I went and picked up my copy at GameStop. I was driving home. I turned on Ryan's Twitch channel because I knew that he was going to be playing it immediately. I just kind of tucked the phone down on the seat, so I wasn't looking at it, but I was listening. And at one point, like right as I was getting home, Ryan mentions, "Oh, here's my my telephone," and I'm like, "Wait, doesn't this game take place in the past?" And Ryan's like, "Oh yeah, we time traveled though." I said, "Wait, what?" Because I had missed his first like 10 minutes of gameplay where that's all explained. So then I was very shocked when I opened up my game and started up like, what the hell is happening here? They did not put that in the marketing at all.
no.
Yeah, what's the term for like out of place, whatever? It's like an anime trope. You know the name?
Yeah.
Oh, Isekai?
Isekai. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Isekai, yeah.
A phrase I did not know existed prior to this game.
And then everybody knew what it was, apparently. I was like, oh, okay. Interesting.
Everyone was suddenly on the same page. Just like everyone was like, oh, it's a Muso game when Hyrule Legends came out. I was like, have we been calling it that? Not just Dynasty Warriors clone the whole time? Like, all right, sure. I guess it has a name.
Yeah, we get traveled back in time by Arceus.
God.
We're at least led to believe at the very beginning of the game. And get dropped off outside of Jubilife City, the home of the Galactic team, where we get employment because basically we're told if you don't work, nobody's going to like you and you're going to die out there.
Indentured servitude is what happens to you, you poor child.
Yeah, like they went a lot, like those early hours are like a lot darker than we've seen in a Pokemon game before, where it's people are just terrified of Pokemon, and if you don't do this work for them, you will die.
Yeah,
the stakes have never been that high early on in a Pokemon game. It's usually like you're going on an adventure.
Yeah, totally.
Mom sends you off with a backpack full of folded underwear, like
yeah.
And then like really way later in the game, like the weird walk of shame out of the village with Silene is like that's the weirdest thing I've ever seen in Pokemon. Like It felt so dark.
Not only did it feel dark, but it felt so out of place, because if you're doing subquests for people in town while you're, going along, people really start to like you and like your presence in the village. And then all of a sudden, as you're walking out, everyone's like, I can't believe it. I knew he was terrible. Like, it's just like,
Can't trust people from the sky.
Yeah, I've been doing stuff for you this entire time, and now you hate me for no reason.
See when I come back for a haircut.
Shouts to Celine though for seeing through all of this and helping you on the low, shirking her duties. And she seems like someone who takes her duty very seriously. So the fact that she still helped you out after exiling you from the city, I thought was pretty darn cool.
I know what you're talking about. Her Abra just wandered off.
I do love that Abra actually paid off, like storyline wise. Like,
yep,
nice, really good.
Check off Abra.
So how much of the late game are we willing to spoil here? Are we assuming people listening to this have finished?
I think we should talk about everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Unless there's anything anybody here is, I know Bob, you're in the post game. Ryan, you're in the post game too. We're all in the post game. But if there's anything anyone specifically doesn't want spoiled, like every Pokemon or something, they should mention.
Has everyone had their encounters with Dialga and Palkia? I guess is my question.
Yes.
Okay. And Giratina?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's talk about my boy Volo.
Yeah. This was the biggest thing I was focused on in the story. Once that twist happened, I was like, yeah, now I'm in.
I have receipts about 15 hours into the game when I sent Ryan a DM, and I misspelled it. I think it autocorrected on my phone to Volvo. I said, I'm just waiting for the big anime betrayal from Volvo. It's coming. And then I rolled credits and I was like, well, I guess that's it. And then it actually did happen, but it's very late in the game. But when he whips off the hat and the backpack and suddenly he's got, anime villain hair, that was fantastic.
Yeah. To my knowledge, the only 6 Pokemon trainer battle.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. The hardest battle in the game by a lot, because you have to battle him and then immediately battle Giratina twice, right?
Twice, which really got, that was the only battle in the game. I think I was consistently over leveled because I just kept exploring so much. I was just naturally over leveled. And that was the only fight in the game where I lost multiple times, then had to leave, train, get my moves right, level up, really focus on this, and then go back, and then fought Giratina, and then lost again, then had to train more, then got to the second form and was like, good God, what do they want from me here?
It's like a real JRPG.
Yeah, that was a real boss fight.
That is hands down my favorite fight from the game, because I went in there not really knowing what was going to happen, of course. I didn't know maybe Giratina, I kind of figured after Dialga and Palkia, but I was not expecting Volo or a fight like Volo's fight. That was almost like I'm fighting this and I'm like, wow, this is giving me red fight vibes from Gold and Silver. Yeah.
Good call. Yeah.
And we were just going back and forth. I would take one of his out, he would take one of mine out, just back and forth the whole fight. I did win with 2 Pokemon left. I had my Typhlosion, who was effective and leveled, and Cleavor, who was a little underleveled, still working him into the team. And then Giratina comes along, and I'm like, oh, fuck me. Typhlosion with a strong Shadow Ball took out the first form, no problem. But then got wiped by the second form because it was strong style. Cleavor comes out, max revive. Typhlosion comes out for another strong style Shadow Ball. The fact that I finished that fight with my starter alone alive.
Drama. The drama.
Drama.
So good. It was so good.
Yeah, I walked in not realizing what was coming, but I was in the middle of trying to get all the evolutions. So I had 4 level 30 to 35 EVs with me. So I got absolutely wiped the first time, and it was just come back when you have stronger Pokemon.
Okay, challenge accepted.
I switched out to my go-to team, and we went back and won it the second time around. Did anyone else try to catch Giratina during that fight? Because I absolutely did.
Yep.
Yeah, there are several fights where you have to defeat the Pokemon, and every time I should have checked every time, can I throw a Pokeball before I bothered lowering her to red and using False Swipe and all that business? But I did it every time, and then it's like, oh, I can't catch it. I could have murdered this thing so easily if I had not.
Yep. And one thing I loved was, if you defeat something that's like a one-off spawn, it will respawn for you, so you can go back and try to catch it again. Like, you don't have to save scum to keep going back to things, which is very nice in this game. Good quality of life change.
Yeah, for sure.
I didn't even try to catch because, like I said, I had the one shot. I had one chance.
If you only had one shot. I like to think that the Eminem track just dropped behind Ryan as he sent that Typhlosion out for the second time.
This is intense.
It really was. Mine was very similar. Like basically my whole team got wiped. I didn't know there was a second form to the fight. Like, I beat Volo with maybe 2 or 3 left. I think my Decidueye, my Rhyperior, and I have an Alpha Octillery who's just so cool. And so luckily my Rhyperior knew Ice Punch and my Octillery knew Ice Beam. So combination of things, I was able to slowly chip down the boss there. And once I got to the second form, it only took one shot, but before then, or one chance, and then I was able to beat him. But before then, to beat his trainer form and the first form, probably 5-6 tries, something like that. Like that boss fight is no joke. But I loved it for that. It was a real post game challenge, and I really like that.
Yeah, Gudra was definitely like central. I used the Hisuian Gudra, and it's very tanky.
Of course you used the Gudra.
Of course I did.
That is one of the shinies I caught finally. Well,
nice.
It's a Sliggoo right now.
Sliggoo looks even cooler. Hisuian Sliggoo looks really cool. But yeah, like Hisuian Gudra is incredibly tanky, and it comes with Shelter, which is the first game where I've kept a move on a Pokemon that is not just an attack move, because using Shelter raises your evasion and your defense, and I basically did a circle around, kept coming back to Gudra, using a bunch of revives until something was not dead and I could get an attack off, until I won that fight.
Chris, you and I play these games so similarly. Like I always have like a tank, like a Blissey or something, and I'll send that out while I revive the rest of my team that'll actually be able to do damage to something. In addition, I jumped to Volo because it was just such a great moment in the game. But can we also talk about Kagita? Is that how we say her name? She that was so strange. Just so she comes out of nowhere, much like me bringing her up on this podcast. It's just like, here, I have someone you should go meet, and he brings you to this lady who's in a weird cabin in the woods. There's no explanation of why you're there, why she's the person you talk to, but
she knows the things you need to know.
Yeah. What is her story, you guys think? Why does she know all these things?
She
just
talks
inherited
about it.
So
did you just tap A past all of her?
No, I listened to her dialogue. I just don't like her, so I didn't listen really. I read it. I just didn't internalize it. What is
she's
it?
a descendant of the people of Hisui who were guarded with all the land's myths. And she's one of the last ones, or the last one left.
I know.
So it's classic.
Implied. It's also so sorry for spoiling a little bit if you haven't caught the incarnate forms yet. But once you catch Enamorus and go talk to her, she implies I'll let you keep Enamorus for now, like it was her Pokemon, and also implies that she is ageless.
Yeah, see, that's my thing, is it feels like she's a deity type figure, not just some descendant.
So that's why she was strange to start, now she's really strange by the end of the game.
Yeah, that's extra weird. I don't know. Brian, where I thought you were going to go from the start of this was the real largest anime betrayal of 2022 so far, Benny.
Oh, yeah. Fucking Benny.
I love my potato mochi. Also, he's a ninja? Suddenly?
Weird.
Oh, I love that twist so much.
Which, I don't know if any of you saw this, or if it was just the Switch being the Switch, but I'm pretty sure I saw his hands shake a little bit sometimes holding that potato mochi plate. And then he comes out to be this super high skilled ninja. And in my mind, I'm like, man, that guy really sells a part.
I looked up potato mochi, by the way, and absolutely want to try making it at home now. It looks delicious.
Mm.
I don't know if it's something I would want for every single meal
Forever, yeah.
of every day, but it does look very yummy.
I will say, as much as I'm not super focused in on the story, I do really enjoy at least the ones that I'm picking up on. It seems like basically every like named character is supposed to be a callback, or well, I guess a descendant, I suppose, since in the past
Ancestor?
An ancestor. Yes, thank you. Of someone from another mainline Pokemon game. Like clearly, I think Volo just really looks like, who's that? Cynthia?
Yeah, and his like. I was talking to Ryan. It was before either of us had finished the post game. Like, people were saying online that Volo was the ancestor of Cynthia, and it makes a lot more sense when you fight him at the end, and he has basically Cynthia's entire team.
Yeah, like down to the almost the entire team. Probably at least 4 out of 6 or something like that. But yeah, like even people are saying like Benny might be like a Koga relative. A lot of people in town are like even the professor has the same hair color, same hair as, who's that guy? Hop, like your rival in Sword and Shield. Like, absolutely go down a YouTube rabbit hole of like what characters are related to what. All of them, like the barber is this person, and like the person who runs the farm is the grass gym leader in Diamond and Pearl, because they have the exact same hair, exact same shirt. Like, there's a billion of these little like Easter eggs,
awesome.
ancestors and descendants, but like the ones that I was picking up on, which were not nearly as much as they were, YouTube will tell me, are still super duper fun. Like, who's that one fella from Black and White, I think, who literally is in your same shoes?
He's the same.
I was gonna ask about that one, because I will be honest, Pokemon stories with me go in one ear and out the other when I'm playing the mainline games. So a lot of these I could tell, like, oh, they're trying to reference something, but I have no idea what it is. But Ingo was the one I was specifically going to ask about, because it seems like he also came through the space-time rift, but no one seems to care.
Me and Ryan I think Ryan was streaming when he came across that guy, and we had to look up who he was, because he's a subway boss, a battle subway boss from Black and White, which is not something I played very much of.
What a weird random pull to be like your other character who got sent through a space-time rift.
Yeah, they could have chose Misty. Like, they could have picked absolutely anyone, and they picked friggin' Ingo or whatever his name is from the battle subway in Black and White.
You don't remember Ingo?
They could have had Brock go and drool over Nurse Pacell in the Galaxy.
Oh my god.
Hey, she's got her 100 medicinal herbs. She'll be fine over there.
I absolutely just went and bought those from the store across the street.
I thought it would take me forever, and then I was like, wait, I could buy these. And it just sold one nugget, bought them all, went right back.
Oh, I wanted to talk about something I bought actually today, because I didn't even know this was in the game. I went to, so there's the 2 merchants from the Ginkgo Guild, and the one guy sells you mysterious items. So he offered me today a mechanical cabinet for 20,000. Have you guys gotten this?
I got a different one. I have the mechanical, I don't remember what they call it. It's a fan. Mechanical windmill.
Okay, so there's more than one. I didn't even realize there's more than one. There's 5, Bob is telling me. Okay.
For all the forms.
It's for your Rotoms stubs. You can put your Rotom through it, and it gives it the new typing and move set, which was very cool. I did not realize that was one you mentioned earlier, like when you saw Pokemon and had like a whoa moment. I can't believe that's in this game. Rotom was one of those for both me and Ryan, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Because Rotom's like a legendary or a pseudo legendary in my mind. So to just see one bouncing around the fucking fields, I was like, what the shit? Is that just what? I stood crouched in the grass for like a minute, just like exasperated at my Switch. Just
He is still a very rare
This
spawn.
is the best Pokemon game.
This?
Like Larry David just yelling at us.
Speaking of, that's a good moment. I want to talk about. I hope we all have a good moment to pick out because I want to talk about like a favorite moment. I know my favorite moments. The first time I'm cresting the big hill in Obsidian Field Lands where the Gyarados is flying by the waterfall, and like a lot of people have that moment talking about like Breath of the Wild, like, and then you see the dragon flying through the sky, and like I had like 5 seconds of like, oh my god, this is my Breath of the Wild dragon in the sky moment. And then it just flies to the edge of the screen and it hits 3 frames per second and I die laughing. Just
Yeah.
Yep. Have fun going back and catching that thing 5 times for your Pokedex entry.
I'll be happy with my shiny.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably the moment for me. I know you've got a shiny Magikarp, which is very cool. But I have been playing these games since 1997. Like when the original Red came out, I got it. And I have never caught a shiny save one Caterpie in Pokemon Let's Go Eevee. And last night I got back-to-back in 2 mass outbreaks. I got shiny Silcoon, which is a very lame shiny, but he does evolve into Beautifly, which is cool. And then shiny Sliggoo right after that, which was like a oh shit moment for me. I was so excited. I was like, I'm gonna have a shiny Goodra. So that was like huge for me, and it's got me now thinking like I want to go get so many more shinies. I'm gonna be playing this game for way more than I should be.
Yeah, I wrote my list of my shinies currently because I've been very blessed with several shinies in my adventures. The first one I ran into was a shiny Beautifly, and I can tell you it is Beautifly, and absolutely love it, and it's in my team permanently now because of that. I mentioned it before we actually got on the air, but I got 2 shiny Lickitungs back to back, literally in the same outbreak, which is bonkers that they would show up like that. So I have a shiny Licky who's all gold in my party right now, and then since then I got a Parasect shiny, a shiny Scyther, who I think is going to be a very cool shiny Scizor, however you pronounce it, because he's all green instead of red. And then
going with the Scizor over the Cleavor, huh?
Yeah, what's shiny Cleavor? I don't even know.
I don't even know what it looks like.
Goes to green. Also goes to green.
Okay.
Interesting. And just the other day I got a shiny Machop, who I'm very psyched to get a shiny Machamp out of.
You got the green team going, yeah.
Yeah. I want a team.
Hulk.
Totally. Oh, yeah, it really does. They clearly up the rates for shiny and stuff like that. So
yeah, I'm not mad about it.
Not at all. It makes it just adds this extra wrinkle that is so much more. I can actually interact with this system instead of like, oh, there's a 1 in 7,000 chances. It's probably never going to happen. If I look into it, whatever. Same with you, Brian. I think I ran into a shiny Caterpie in silver, and I threw a great ball, and it kicked out at 2, and then it ran away. And I've never, in the wild, run into a shiny ever. I've seen a couple in trades and from friend battles and wonder trades and all that kind of jazz, but never in the wild until this game, and it is just the greatest feeling. I love it.
Yeah.
What are the odds that the first shiny 3 of us have run into is the Caterpie? Because my first in the wild shiny in leaf green, a Caterpie.
Whoa!
Wow.
I guess it's a somewhat common Pokemon in those 3 games, so it does make some sense. But yeah.
Yeah, I also never saw a shiny until this game, but I did find a Drifloon shiny, which is a very good shiny.
That's also such a good one, the gold Drifloon. And I like it because it's still like the odds, like Bob said, are much better than in a mainline Pokemon game, but it's still exciting when you run into one. Like it feels right now. It feels like, okay, it's super hype when I find a shiny, but it's not impossible to find them either. Like it's just, it feels like it's right at the right balance. I love the shiny rates in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's still like, for people who always enjoyed, shiny hunting, like exploiting those mechanics to try and get shinies, there's still that if you want to get alpha shinies, because those are still exceedingly hard to find.
Yeah, I could see that. I'm kind of curious what the actual number on it is, like if they can do the math on it, because clearly they have it down from previous generations. They figured out it's one in X amount of thousand or whatever, and that can get chopped down with post game items and stuff like that. But like, I'm curious if the number's actually lower, or is it because we can just see them that it seems higher? Like instead of running through the grass, so it's like there's just 50 invisible ones and zeros in this field, and I don't know how many of them could be shiny and could be not. But like in this game, you just fly over a field, and there are suddenly 50 Pokemon to spawn. So like, do the odds seem higher? I can't.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know.
interesting because I mean, if you think about it, one trip through like the Obsidian Filled Lands, you have like 200 quote unquote random encounters as they were in the old games. So,
and if you see one that shines up, you're instantly going for it, as opposed to the old games where it's like, maybe I'll have 200 encounters if I walk through this grass enough, but like, who can tell?
I'm sure like data miners will figure out eventually exactly what the odds are, and we'll know once and for all. But that is a good point. Absolutely.
Yeah. There's also something to be said about like the incentivization to go out and repeatedly get into these random encounters in this game. There's so much more reason to go after the same Pokemon repeatedly. And where in older games, like, yeah, you could catch one and be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Pokedex, the way that they build leveling up the Pokedex and the Pokedex entries in this game, I think are very smartly done. A lot of them are very natural to the play style, just like we were talking about before. Like you kind of accidentally do a lot of them, and you're like, oh yeah, that's very smart. Like of course I'm going to naturally do X, Y, and Z. I'm going to naturally use these moves that are exclusive to this kind of Pokemon, which is usually a Pokedex entry, or catch X number of them, or use their agile moves or whatnot. So like, you don't usually, or unless you're going for 100%, you don't have to explicitly like check the Pokedex and see what they need to do. I just found myself kind of mastering most of them just through natural gameplay, and that felt the most right to me.
Yeah, when I finally found the time to like decide to go complete some Pokedex entries that I hadn't, like I would go to an area and be like, oh, I've done 57 out of 74 that I've seen. Like I've already done a bunch of these. Like, and you're right, it's extremely smart and well done, because it makes it easy to do whether you want to catch a lot or battle a lot or do a little bit of both. Like if you're someone who doesn't want to go out there and catch 20 of the same Pokemon to get your Pokedex entry completed, fine, battle them. That's fine. You can battle them all you want. If you don't want to battle at all, if you want to try and stealth this game as much as possible, 100%, yeah, go ahead. Just keep catching them. Both ways are totally valid to complete these Pokedex entries and advance your progress through the story.
Yeah, and I love that they, none of us have still done it yet, but they have like a post-game quest that is complete your Pokedex. There's never been a really reason to complete your Pokedex. There's like a guy you can talk to in every game that's like, good job, you're the best, congrats. And that's about
I'm the director of the game.
Yeah.
Weird fourth wall breaking moment every single game. Hey, kid, here's a poster hanging up on your wall or something. Man. Leave me alone.
Not only go away, kid, you bother me.
I'm Pokemon in here. Not only like a subquest reason to do it, but you have one version of the game and you can catch all of the Pokemon available in that game.
No trading required.
No events, no trading required, no second copy required.
Yeah, I mean, we talked earlier. Technically, there's like 3 or 4 that are behind having save data from other games, but that's it.
So, what are the 4? So I know Shaman and Darkrai,
and then Manaphy and Fion.
What do you need to have save data? So Darkrai is Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl. Shaman is Sword and Shield. What are the other 2? Do you know?
The Let's Go, I believe, isn't it?
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure which one it is.
Because I didn't play any of the Let's Go, and I think I have all 4 of those. I did play Sword and Shield or Sword and Brilliant Pearl or whatever.
I have.
Don't mind me.
I have Darkrai and Shaman, and I know I have the subquest for
Manaphy and Fion or whatever.
Which what subquest is that? Do you know what it's called? This is good podcasting right here.
The Legend
Legend of the Sea or something.
So I also have that one, and I do not have a Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl save, so it's not that, but it might be tacked on with Sword and Shield, or because I have Sword and Shield, or I have Let's Go. But yeah, I do have that quest.
There's something very cool. I learned through YouTube videos. Remember, kids, YouTube videos. That's how you learn. No. But there was a very fun thing with that quest. I don't want to spoil too much of it if you haven't beaten it yet. But from what I understand, it is the way to get to Manaphy. You have to have a specific party in your group, and I won't spoil what that party is.
Yeah.
But it is specifically listed in a book that you can read in Shining Pearl and Brilliant Diamond. I always mix those up.
Yeah.
And like the only way you would know what the correct combination of Pokemon to bring is if you read this specific library book in Pearl and Diamond, or looked it up.
So I've been sitting on this quest for like 15 hours, having no idea what I'm supposed to do or where I'm supposed to go.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. All right,
Yeah.
so I will have to look it up. Although
maybe-
I'm considering buying that game now just so I can get Darkrai to complete my Pokedex. I don't need that for Arceus. I don't think it's just a bonus one, but I want to have it all finished. So
That was going to be my question. Like, are you able to get Arceus without those save files?
Yes.
I think you can get Arceus without the optional Pokemon. Yeah.
Then I think that's silly but perfectly reasonable then, because you can still beat the game 100% without having to have played any of the previous ones. I think it's just good bonus material, good incentive. Be like, hey, go buy these other games. You want this Darkrai over here?
I really do.
That guy's pretty cool.
I have a buddy who lives in town who said he'll let me borrow his copy of Shining Pearl, so I can just pop it in, play 5 minutes, make a save file, give it back to him. Maybe go read that book, I guess. God.
I don't know. I just think that's so cool. That's like,
It is very cool.
So non-Pokemon too. It doesn't feel like a Pokemon game to do something like that. And maybe
It's
that's
almost
part
like
of the reason I like it.
it's bordering on like a mini ARG.
Maybe that's why I like it so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we've
Like
talked a
all
lot
the
about this game and have not mentioned the noble Pokemon and the noble fights.
Hmm.
Is that because we don't like them, or because they're such a small part of the experience that in the grand scheme of things, they don't amount to enough to like poke your memory as you're sitting here just gushing?
I love the idea of the Pokemon Noble fights. I like when they first pop out and it gives you that Zelda style subtitle, Cleavor, Lord of the Woods. But then he just immediately bashes his head into a tree and you just hit him with food sacks over and over again and it's over. So I didn't find many of them to be all that challenging. There were a couple towards the end that were a little tougher. But yeah, I love the idea of it. I think they need to work on their design a little bit and maybe mix it up a little bit more.
Yeah, I think the execution could be a little bit better, but I do like what they're going for as a way to give a boss battle without it being a Pokemon fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a you're gonna die fight. That is a cool aspect to it. And it's the first time in a Pokemon game where the Pokemon is threatening your life instead of just your other Pokemon.
Yeah.
So that is pretty cool.
When your team faints, you don't black out and wake up back at your tent. You have to run away now, so you're not going to be mauled by that Ursa ring that's level 47 and 17 levels above your team, because you stupidly went into a space-time rift and 3 Ursa ring came out at the same time. I'm not speaking from experience.
Those rifts, if you're a little under-leveled, those space-time rifts can get rough real fast. Like if triple haunters come out, or like this can get rough really, really fast. But also, again, that gasp moment, that moment of like, oh, what could be around every corner? Like when you're in those space-time rifts at a friggin' I don't know what's one that isn't going to spoil too much. A Porygon 2 pops up, and I'm like, oh, like
The
Love
best
that.
I've had pop out was Alpha Vaporeon followed by a Flareon.
whoa.
I had one yesterday where I got Cranidos immediately followed by Rampardos, and those were two that I had no idea were in the game until I saw them pop up in this field. So that was a real like whoa moment for me for sure.
Bob, Chris, I don't know that you guys mentioned anything about the noble Pokemon before we get too far away from that. If you
Fair.
want.
Yeah, I like the noble fights quite a bit. I think they're, because there's only 5 of them, I think they're a fine distraction that happens every once in a while. If the game was like hyper focused on them and they were happening every hour, every 2 hours, I think they would get old because they don't have a lot going on. Also, you know, lore wise, you literally put their favorite food in a sack and throw it at their face repeatedly, and that makes them calm somehow. It's an interesting
It's a
way to
little
calm
silly.
somebody.
Makes me
That's how-
calm. I don't know how it.
Yeah, that's how I go to bed. I have to hire interns to just whip spicy tuna rolls at my face. And
The Manscaped reps just come on over to Bob's house.
you know, I thought the boss fights were somewhere between fine and good. I wasn't gushing over them. Again, I liked them for what they were. If there were 20 of them in the game, I would absolutely get sick of them. But the fact that they're 5 and they're all, you know, relatively unique and increasing in challenge a little bit as they went, like that Electrode fight, that got me a couple times for sure. Like the homing things, like it was, you know, it was a challenge, and it was something different from what the game offered otherwise. So I'm cool with it.
That Electrode one gets harder the more you get hit because you move slower, the more damage you take, and you don't heal
Yes.
in there the whole time. So like every mistake is just sliding you closer and closer to ultimate death in an exacerbated fashion.
You know, we all said 5, but I guess you do a fight against either Palkia or Dialga as well, which is a noble fight. Do you guys think Arceus is going to be a noble fight? I guess none of us know yet.
Ooh.
I would like
Maybe.
it to be, but I
You
don't know.
wanna get out there and pelt Arceus?
I want to pelt God with his favorite food. That's what I want.
It's
That's the
actually
quote.
Benny's potato mochi. That's
Ooh.
the
The
final
Keese.
twist.
That would have worked for all the nobles. They just didn't try it on.
yeah.
I think the Avalugg one is a very cool set piece. Like, people want a big Pokemon in the game. I mean, we can't catch that one, but that's a big Pokemon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah, that's how
very
big
cool.
like a Wailord would be normally. I want to see an Alpha Wailord in one of these games. The Switch literally can't do it. It's probably why it's not in there.
That's Earth. It's on the back of an Alpha Wailord.
I can see Alpha Wailord now. Head and tail at 3 frames per second. Shoulder and hip section at like 15.
See
and
the
then-
whale of mighty girth.
I think that is something worth bringing up, though. The small graphical hitches. Now, I know that's,
Mhm.
you know, and I don't want to harp over it because to me, there's so much pure joy that's in this game. I don't care if it looked like a Nintendo game. I would be having as much fun because it's just, the gameplay is just so much freaking fun. But at the same time, it has to be said, like, does this have a lot of, you know, pop in as you go? Yeah. Is the draw
Guys.
distance all that great? No.
Bob Buel hates this game.
No. I'm never a graphics snob. I like when my games run below 30 frames. Like, it's fine. I'm fine with it. I'm absolutely still loving this game. This is going to be like, you know, probably 1, 2, or 3 on my top 10 of the year at the end of this year. I'd have to imagine, below Windjammers and, I don't know, Elden Ring.
Oh my god, Windjammers. Why you gotta do that to me, Bob?
Every podcast.
And to throw in a little something there.
Someday.
But it does need to be said, like, if
Yep.
this series does, you know, continue, or if there is any DLC or anything like that, like, obviously they can't revamp the engine or anything like that, but it's the weakest point of this game, I would
Yeah.
say.
I'm convinced that's a 2, well, maybe like a 3-part problem. I think one part is definitely better optimization, because there are other open world games that don't have that issue on the Switch. But I also think hardware isn't helping.
Absolutely.
Like, I don't know if any of y'all have played either of the Monster Hunter Stories games. I've been playing I put about 20 hours into Monster Hunter Stories 2 before Arceus came out. And from a texture level, very similar. Like, the textures in both of those games, very similar. I don't really hear people complaining about the graphics in Monster Hunter Stories. I think the thing Monster Hunter Stories has over Arceus is stuff like draw distance and pop in. But I'm playing that on my PC, not my Switch. It's a very different hardware spec. And I think the other thing that gets overlooked and is part of the reason why those things aren't as great is load times. There is almost no loading in Arceus, and part of that reason is they're not actually loading a lot of things in all at once right around the player. So part of the reason you get a very seamless experience is they're trying to optimize your load times as much as possible.
Yeah.
I actually had a issue today where I loaded into one of the camps at Crimson Mirelands, tried to fly to a satchel on my map, and when I loaded in, it took considerably longer than it normally did to load in. And then as I was flying to that spot, my game hard crashed back to the Switch menu, which is the first time in like 50 hours I'd experienced that. And I didn't lose any progress or anything because it had like auto saved when I went to the camp. But yeah, that was very strange. But that's the one and only crash I've had. The only real complaint I have with the pop-in issue is that Wisp challenge. And if this is the section where we're going to talk about nitpicks, even using a guide, when I was in the Alabaster Icelands, I went to each spot like 4 times because there was one that was just not popping in for me unless I was like on top of it.
It's definitely
so that was the only
bad.
time it became a real issue for me.
Yeah, I do think with the obviously this game does not look great, but I think there's a conversation to be had too about like, we deride developers for, crunching their employees. Nintendo infamously does not, at least according to their interviews. So I wonder how much of that plays into this as well. Like, I would rather play games that look like this than developers work 80 hours a week.
Yeah, that too.
100% agree. I mean, this is, as much as it is an IP that's existed for 20 blank years, like, this is a brand new system for them to take on. It might be running on an engine of Sword and Shield, but like, it couldn't be more different gameplay wise. So yeah, if they need to not drive their workers into the ground, do something brand new that's bringing me just so much joy out of the newness and the freshness of it, but the graphics pop in like a PS3 game, I don't care. Give me PS3 all day. Like, I truly have no issue with it. And maybe that's slightly rose-tinted glasses of like, oh, don't excuse bad graphics, but it's like, it's also a cartoon. It's not meant to look realistic. It's not, this isn't Last of Us. Like, it's not supposed to look like that. It's supposed to look a little cartoony, and I think for that they do a pretty good job of it. Is there still popping? Of course, but I don't know. Me personally, it never really bothered me.
Yeah, the only place that did bother me is those wisps like you were talking about, Brian, because there were several where I would go to the exact location and it's not there, so I guess I fly away. But every time I didn't, like, I had to come up with a whole stamp system. Like, I put a star everywhere that the guide said there was one, and then when I got to one, if I grabbed it, I took the star off the map. Great. If it wasn't there, I changed it to a berry. Like, maybe there's still one here and the game's just not showing it to me. I'll come back if I can't find them all. And I went in circles several times.
I used an IGN guide that had screenshots with it, and I would have to like get to a point where my characters lined up exactly with their screenshot before I believed that it was not there. It's like, I need to play mirror image with this to make sure that Wisp isn't there. My only other major nitpick, and I think Chris is the only one who's gotten to this point, is that Enamorus fight. Enamorus is a new legendary for this game. First off, absolutely hate this design. I don't know how you're feeling, Chris, at this point on Enamorus.
I don't like it very much. I think it's better than the other 3 incarnates, but that's not saying anything at all.
Yeah, true. This is probably my least favorite set of legendaries. It's up there at least. I'd have to probably look at all of them to be absolutely certain of that. But this fight is just, absolute nonsense. You have to chase this Pokemon that is incredibly fast through a bog. So you either have to be on your Weird Ear, which you can't throw Pokeballs from, or running through mud, which you can't roll from. Impossible to dodge things. There's like 30 Krogunk and Hippopotas running around. It's just, it was miserable. I got knocked out more times there than the rest of the game combined.
Yeah, same. I saved before I even, because I already knew that it was going to be annoying because all of them are fast and run away, but none of them are nearly as bad as this. Thundurus is the only one that comes close. I think Thundurus is the one in the Ice Mountains, right? Whichever one that is has a lot of Pokemon around too, but not the mud.
and those are like high level, like Glalie and stuff like that. I think Thundurus is the one on the water. I think it's Tornadus maybe in Iceland.
Okay, whichever one. The one on the water.
They all use the same attack anyways.
Yeah. The one on the water is the easiest one because Basculegion's the only Pokemon you can throw Pokeballs from the back of. So you can be moving fast and still throw Pokeballs at it. Because the way the mechanic works is you have to hit him with a Pokeball and then he'll like rage out and run away again. You have to do that 3 times before he'll get in a fight with you.
And I actually caught him without fighting. I got him on like a back strike after the third one and did not have to fight him. Yeah, I was like stunned when it popped up with like caught.
Oh man, my nitpicks all feel like really little things, stuff that can easily be improved with future entries, like more farm space or for like our extra Pokemon, not the farm,
pasture.
Which in the post game they do increase it to 16 pastures from 8. So which you probably have 16 now.
I have 24 now actually.
Oh. Wow.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm at least 18 at this point. Like every time I think you get to the box before it just gives you extra. That's how I've been noticing it. Because when I only had 8, I was like, this is gonna fill up fast.
That's really weird that they wouldn't just show you the maximum, but
it says here the maximum I googled real quick is 29 can be unlocked over the course of the game.
Okay. So no complaint.
That's no 930 slots.
Never mind. Remove that complaint.
That's kind of how Diamond and Pearl back in the day actually did work, if I remember right. You had to like put a Pokemon in each box and then leave and then come back, and it would be like, oh, you're using all these? Okay, we'll give you extra. It was a strange system, but something you only had to do once, and then you were set for the rest of the game. So
there's a lot of strange systems, like not getting multiple release until you fill 4 boxes.
Oh, is that I've never released a Pokemon yet, so I
haven't either.
That's
but
why I still only have 8.
I noticed that they said that to me, that like, oh yeah, now I can let you release multiple at once. It's like, why was that not an option before?
Yeah. And you get a lot of those grit, stones, pebbles, etc. for releasing.
Yeah. How do you feel about the crafting system in general?
I love it. I wish I could customize the box in more ways than just one. Like I went through for a couple nights and like renamed several different of the boxes in my item box to like berries 1, berries 2, ball materials, giggity, general items, thrown items, all different kinds of things. And then I was just going through it once and I hit minus and it all reorganized itself. And I'm like,
oh,
I was gonna say,
not gonna do that.
Minus, dog.
Yeah, but I don't necessarily like the way that it default organizes it. I don't necessarily like their default organization. So I wish they gave us more organization options, like hit minus to go by type, or other organization ways, or I don't know if
most used would be interesting. Like however you play, just put those right up top.
Yeah, that would be cool.
I wish there was a way to sort Pokemon in the pasture.
Yes.
Yeah. At least I haven't found any way, but like sort them by Pokedex number or again by type. That would be very convenient, so that I could just say, okay, here's my 32 Ralts that I've caught. Like, which one are the best male and female that I want to evolve?
Yeah, they've got like a search function, so you can be like, oh, I want to look at all my Ralts. But even then, like, it's not like, okay, here's all your Ralts, and we're gonna put them in one box together here for you to see. It's like the Ralts are highlighted as you scroll through. Good luck.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Yeah.
The only thing I would have really liked to see from the crafting system is like a ridiculously hard to craft Master Ball, like 10 gold nuggets to craft a Master Ball or something, but you can craft Master Balls. I think that would be great.
Yeah, that would be great. Maybe that's coming at level 10.
The
rank
the
10.
origin ball, you mean, Chris?
No, the origin.
As it is
that's
called
right,
in
yeah.
this game.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Ryan, I already looked up what rank 10 gives you. It's not a master ball.
Isn't it just more rare candy?
It's
or
more rare
something?
candies and rocks.
Oh
It's a whole
man.
boatload of rare candy. Yeah. Because I'm about halfway there, so I spoiled it for myself and Googled it the other day.
Have some balls, Game Freak. Master balls.
Another thing I really like about this game, to get off of nitpicks for a second, I apologize, but I really enjoy how they handled Unknown in this game. I assumed he was going to be in there because it's a game about ancient Pokemon, so it only makes sense. But having it be more of a treasure hunt where they're giving you clues as to where to find them, instead of having to just try and randomly encounter 28 different forms of this one Pokemon, was a really fun way to handle it. And I've had a lot of fun like trying to decipher the clues and figure out where to go. I think I'm at like 13 now. Most of them I actually looked for, and then there were like 4 or 5 that were just like a random stumbled on them.
I was gonna say Ryan doesn't know
Mr.
this.
Keese? Clues?
Clues.
The Unknown.
No, I know about the clues.
Clues?
Yeah,
go to the
they give you a
Pokemon,
separate page.
You hit Y.
Yeah, I know
To
there's
go
a
to your-
separate page for it, but
So each unknown has a clue written underneath it in the unknown language. Which-
motherfucker.
If you like look at it like it's a Magic Eye page, you can actually kind of decipher just by looking at it.
Yeah.
Most of the letters are fairly close to what they are in real life, but
I can
my
basically read Unknown at this point.
Yeah, yeah. My favorite one that I've found, and so this is an unknown location. If people don't want it, skip ahead 10 seconds. But you can go up onto the roof of the Galaxy Hall building through
Yeah.
Commander Kamato's office, and there's an unknown sitting over one of the Magikarp statue's eyes, which was
Oh, that's
very
cool.
fun to find. Yeah.
It made me like triple take because Magikarp's eyes are already just a dot with a circle. So I was
Yeah.
like, wait a minute.
That's
Wait
great.
a minute.
Yeah. And
you
because
see it's unknown and just whip a ball at. That was the first one
Yeah.
I caught, and it was like, oh, this is like a game changer now. Okay.
Yes. I will say, we can, to tie this into nitpicks, some of them are incredibly frustrating to hit with a ball, considering they're just like right there. The hitbox is real bad on some of the unknown.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
one on top of a mountain in Coronet Highlands that I just found earlier today that like you have to kind of climb up there jankily with Sneasler because you can't aim that high, and you have to sit on a very small part of the mountain that you're not falling off of to aim. And then you can't see him still, so you have to aim slightly to the right of him and just hit his hitbox that's a little bigger than he is. Yeah, it's a little wonky, but it's super fun.
There was one in a cave, I want to say, where that like Crobat is, somewhere in there. And I was like just chucking like a dozen Pokeballs because I just kept hitting rock geometry around it. And I was like, if I aim like a foot above it, it'll still count. But it cost me about 15, whatever, Great Balls or whatever. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
but hey, I got one down,
There was one, and there's a wisp like this too, that's behind like what's clearly a bomb wall from a Zelda game, where I was just like, they did not explain at any point in the game how to get through this. And it's like, and then it says if you have a Pokemon that can smash rocks, it'll get through this wall. And I was like, oh, I need a Pokemon that knows Rock Smash. But then I just threw my Palkia at it that did not know Rock Smash, and he just clambered right through it. So.
It's funny you say didn't tell you anything about it all, because it feels like in the first 2 hours of this game, they tell you about every possible thing you could need to know.
Maybe it was in there and I just like my eyes were glazed over at that point, but I don't remember getting told that information.
No,
Yeah.
I don't think so either.
They don't
That's the
specifically
rocks,
tell you
I don't
that.
think so.
They don't even specifically tell you to throw them at like the orange rocks that give you materials. Technically, they just tell you about berry trees and assume you'll figure out the rest. But it also took me a shockingly long time to throw a Pokemon at one of those rocks to destroy. I saw them and I was like, oh, I'll ride Pokemon that'll go through this later.
Exactly. Yeah, I thought that was going to be, the next Sneasler,
It got to the point where I just start throwing my Pokemon at everything. Like, these are my tools. I'm not doing anything. Go, my minion.
Yeah.
Pick up that Vivichoke.
Yeah, I do love that it can just randomly pick up items too. It's especially good when I'm like just surfing around and I see one of those tiny little islands that just have like an ore or something on it. I'm just like, I'm not gonna stop and get off and press start and do it. It's just like, nope, here you go, right here. Go pick this up, and we're on our way.
Hey, how about that last balloon race, guys? Did you all do the last balloon race where you're switching forms consistently?
I am afraid you all anyone who has talked about that last balloon race has put the fear of God into me. I haven't tried it yet.
All the rest are so easy, and that one is just like I had to do it 3 times.
I just did it enough to pass the side quest. I did not get a perfect score.
I will never perfect score that in my life.
I got a perfect
just
score
feels
on the
like
first one.
It feels like too much RNG with like, is it going to be lined up when I go past it with my Braviary or Weirdier or Basculete? Yeah, it's crazy.
I will say though, outside of that last balloon race, and maybe a handful of the balloon races, the ability to go between the mounts, between the legendary or whatever they're actually called, feels really good. I will say, like, just booking it on a weird deer, going right for the water, and instantly turning into, instantly
so
surfing
satisfying.
onto it. So satisfying. And then, like, you have a double jump with Basque, whatever his name is.
Legion,
yes, Basque Legion. You get the double jump on it, and then mid double jump, you can just press, flip over to Braviary, and then you get the extra boost into the air. It's just like, this rules. The freedom of motion there is so satisfying.
Yeah, I also really like, speaking of, Weirdier and Basque Legion, a lot of the new evolution mechanics they've introduced in this game feel more creative than stuff we've seen in a long time. Like getting Weirdier, you have to use the Psybash in agile mode a certain number of times. For Ursaluna, it's the evolution during the full moon. Basculins, we talked about on Draft Punks, which is really cool. Basculin has to take enough recoil damage without passing out in order to evolve into Basque Legion. So yeah, there's just some really cool, like, new forms of evolution here.
Yeah, I will say every single one of them I had to look up. I did not figure out any of them on my own.
Even ones I feel like I could have figured out on my own, like getting Cleavor is just a black Auguryte, which I had. I was just like, how do I what's the there to be?
I will say the link cable item that can just instantly evolve any trading necessary Pokemon. And again, all the trade items, dubious discs, metal coats, are just use items now. Again, something just like I mentioned before, like, they are not beholden to the games of the past. They are not married to these mechanics. They can just make something that totally works for a single standalone game, and it just makes the world just a little easier. That said, I still traded for a Machoke, and if you haven't traded, the trade animation is unbelievably amazing.
Yes.
Totally.
So cool.
It's the best it's ever been.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I like that you can get all those items. I found an excess of a lot of the items I don't need, especially the stones, the sunstones, moonstones, all this stuff. I have so many that I will never ever use, especially because a lot of those evolutions you can just catch anyway. You don't actually need the stone to put in your Pokedex, at least. But then other ones like Razor Claw, I have managed to find one, but I still need to find a second one or spend my merit points on one, because there's both Sneasler and Weavile in this game that you need 2 Razor Claws for.
Oh,
yeah, like a lot of those ones that were always like there was one of them in the old games, they're very, very rare. Usually just drop from one Pokemon, a very rare drop, or you have to buy them with merit points. So basically most of the Pokemon I need now are just evolutions from those things, and I'm just hunting people's satchels. You're welcome, people. Which, have you guys noticed a lot of those satchels, I think they're not actual people, they're fake, like Ash and Norm.
Yeah, I got a lot of norms.
Yeah, some of them for sure.
I like that system, though. I will say, I think that's a very clever system to give you at least a temporary punishment to passing out. But then at the same time, like, every time I do, I'll just be like, all right, next morning, next time I play this, the next day, I always get it back. And I do have an excess of those merit points. I'm always helping people out with their satchels. So I like that system. I think it's a clever little community aspect, I suppose, online aspect.
It's almost like the online aspect of something like Death Stranding, where you're not directly interacting with somebody.
It's a Strand game, everybody. Oh my god!
It's the next this was Strand too. Ryan, how many of those items were you getting back?
Well, Ryan, it's funny you ask that. So I sent Ryan a message the other day. I was like, I've returned 47 satchels and nobody's returned a single one of mine. I don't know what's going on. Why isn't anyone picking up these satchels? And Ryan said, are you connected to the internet? I said, wait, I have to turn on an option in order to. So I went back into the menu. Sure enough, I had to like restart my game and connect to the internet. And like within 5 minutes, I messaged Ryan. I was like, so I just got my first satchel back. They have now all been returned, all dozen or so of them that I lost to an Amorous. But yes, I have gotten them returned. Saved me a lot of money on crafting gigaton balls, so that's good.
Yeah, because they will take the best stuff from your satchel or whatever a lot of the times.
Yeah,
like
unless
the
you
one
have
time I
that
really
charm.
needed it.
Sorry, go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah, true. Yeah, the one time I really needed it was I found one protector and I really wanted a Rhyperior. And of course, that's like the first time I black out in the game and it's like, don't be the protector, don't be the protector. And I see it's like, a couple ultra balls, a couple this, a couple that, protector. It's like,
Oh.
I got a Rhyperior tomorrow. All right.
Yeah, I lost quite a few nuggets because I had just run into two. So there's the Misfortune sisters. You can run into them in the post game, and they give 4 nuggets every time you beat one of them, which is a quick 40K in cash. Yeah. So I had beaten a couple of them and had a lot of those that I lost in those Enamorous fights because I sunk cost fallacy. Every time I get kicked back to camp, I was like, this time I've got it for sure. So I wouldn't store any of my items. I would just immediately fly back in. So I had lost a lot of good stuff. So I'm glad I'm finally getting it back.
I'm glad you mentioned those sisters because money. Let's talk about the Satchel Man. We have not talked about the Satchel Man.
I was just about to bring it up.
The richest man in all the land.
Yes.
Oh my god, this guy.
Yeah, I'm
Is
at
there a max to that? Like, has
Yes.
anyone found?
the very last upgrade cost $1 million. I have not gotten there. Mine costs 100,000 right now, and I'm done. I have not run out of space in ages. So
I don't think I've ever had more than 150,000 in my account. So to think that I would have to spend $1 million to get one item spot is ridiculous.
This was talked about in the Pokemon channel on our Discord, and friend of the show, JT, linked a YouTube video of like how to grind money effectively. And those Charm Sisters will always spawn in the same places on each map. Each one has a specific spot will spawn in on the map. So the way to farm money is to just load into Obsidian Field Lands, check one of the 3 spots, see which one of them spawned, go back to Jubilife, go back, check the 3, go back, and just fight them over and over and over for nuggets. Apparently it's like $600,000 an hour you can make doing that if you're doing it efficiently.
Wow.
So only 2 hours for that last upgrade.
Yeah, 2 hours still for that last fucking upgrade.
There's an article about this on Polygon titled "Pokemon Legends Arceus' actual villain, Satchel Upgrade Guy."
I like how he doesn't even have a name, does he? He's just I don't know. If he does, I never read it, not once.
He does.
It's like a pun name.
Baggin. It's Bagin because it's what you put in your bag. So it's Baggin is his name.
Guy.
He should have a Baggin, but Baggin's not even in the game. So
there's a lot of comparisons to Tom Nook. But yeah, I think when you've done all the upgrades, I read somewhere it's like over 4 million total in credits that you end up spending for all those upgrade spots. It's crazy.
I think my next one's like 20-something thousand. I haven't bought it because I've really just gotten in the rhythm of dumping everything except for balls, potions, maybe some revives, and like the stealth stuff I want anytime I'm at my tent. I don't care if the only item I need to drop in there is 3 Oran berries. They're going in the storage.
Yeah, especially in the post game, like you have all the fast travels unlocked, and it's not like you're pushing towards an objective like that you're going to fill your bag. If your bag's kind of full, you're just like, well, I'll fly back. It doesn't matter.
My problem is just the bag getting filled up anytime I defeat like a random Pokemon, and it's like, oh, have a Caster Fern or a Hardy Grain or any one of these 38 crafting items I don't care about anymore.
That's when it's nice that you can still craft in the field, because that's when I'll go in and I'll craft to clear some spots, get back and dump that. But at this point, I'm doing most of my crafting at the tents, and I still have Pokeballs and Great Balls and Heavy Balls, but I have not crafted one in probably 15 hours. It's just leftovers. I only plan on at this point crafting Ultra Balls, Gigaton Balls, and what Jet is that the
You can you can craft in the field.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
I
really,
have
Brian?
absolutely not done that once.
In your key items.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got a portable bench.
next to my plate collection.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
God. I
Yeah.
absolutely had no idea.
I didn't learn you could run by clicking the left stick until about 25 hours in either.
Wow.
I just assumed
Wait,
it was forward
what?
stick or Weird Ear. I just used Weird Ear so much I
Yeah.
never ran.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
All right, I gotta go, everyone. I gotta go run to my crafting kit. Yeah.
L3 or whatever, yeah.
That's another.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's
well, I
another
remember-
incredibly minor complaint, real quick, on the running, is that it has an invisible stamina bar, and that annoys me. Just show me the stamina bar. Show me when I'm gonna run out.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Or don't. Like, just have them run
Just don't have
forever.
stamina,
Who
even better.
cares? Yeah.
Or at least
get-
don't have stamina in Jubilife. Sorry, Brian.
No, I was just gonna say I get having stamina in a game where you need to evade Pokemon in a strategic fashion. I understand there being a stamina bar, but yeah, let you know when it's gonna run out. That makes sense. I remember them giving me a crafting kit at the start of the game, so it makes sense that you're saying I can craft in the field. But I just assumed that crafting kit was the one set up at the tent. Like I thought, oh, I got here and my character set up their crafting kit here. I did not realize it was in my bag this whole time.
The only difference is the one in your key items you can only craft with the items in your satchel, and the one at the tent you can use with anything in the storage.
Yeah.
So
Which I do really like. I like that you don't have to move stuff to your satchel to craft at those tables. They streamline that really well.
Yeah, and also you don't have to move Pokemon out of your pasture if you're turning them in for a quest, but then items you do have to move out of your item box if you're turning in for a quest, which is a weird kind of oversight, but
yeah.
But I mean, as much as is different in this Pokemon game, which is almost everything, I really think they hit it out of the park in giving us so much of what we wanted, streamlining so many things, letting us change moves in the field, letting us change names in the field. Pokemon know all the moves they could ever learn. It's just which ones do you have active now? You can catch all the Pokemon you need or want in one game. You don't have to buy 2 copies, have a friend and a link cable. There are still things to iron out. This isn't a perfect 10, but god damn, is it really freaking good.
Yeah. Like, I have my Glade with Hypnosis and False Swipe, but as soon as I know I'm going into a boss battle, like, those are going out and the big hitters are going in. You know what I mean? Like, that is so nice to be able to swap at the ready. Or same thing, my Licky knows every type of move imaginable, and it's just, who am I facing here? Do they need Thunder Punch? Do they need Ice Punch? Do they need Rollout? You need whatever. Licky's got you covered.
I wondered at first if you'd be able to like spam moves by just changing them and not have to worry about resting, but they actually do it. I think a very clever way is if you change a move out, it has the PP of whatever move you had previously. So if I have like Flamethrower and I have like 7 out of 10 left and I switch it to Ember, even though Ember has 25 charges, it starts at 7 out of 25, so that you can't just like cheese your way without having to stop somewhere to rest up.
Yeah, very smart.
Yeah,
that is a smart way to do it.
makes sense. Yeah, we were talking earlier, like, I would also be okay with them doing like Legends and the mainline series on separate wavelengths, but I think a lot of these things do still need to carry over to the main games, like being able to change your moves. They already have that in the games technically. You just have to like find a heart scale or whatever in most of them. It's like, just make it really easy. Just make this stuff easy and like feasible for a normal person who doesn't want to spend tons and tons of time grinding for these random items.
I think, and I think the things they've streamlined have like made the process of exploration more special because you get to spend the time doing the things you really want to be doing in this game. Man, we have been going now for nearly 2 hours. This has been a joy. This has been a treat. Any last thoughts, final words, things you want to get off your chest about this game?
I know I give you crap for saying this is the best Pokemon game ever made. I think it's the second best one, honestly. I do really like it a lot. I'm just giving you a hard time. I have not felt so engaged with a Pokemon game probably in 20 years. And this is such a huge step in the right direction that I really hope Game Freak like listens to the positive outpouring of support for this step in the right direction of this franchise.
Yeah, I think we could talk all day about the gameplay or the battle or the small things we don't like or the big things we really do like, but at least for me, the biggest thing has just been the sum of all of that, which is just this innate exploration and joy, and just you don't know what's around every corner. And truly, since probably Silver, the original Blue or Silver or whatever, like I don't know if I've had that exact feeling. And I absolutely have that almost on a daily basis every time I start this game up. Whether it's turning a corner and just seeing a group of Psyduck and going like, oh my gosh, look, they're so cute. Or the little things of just like I was mentioning, finding these little character connections between the old games and the new games, that are just so much fun. Like that one sister who always has the Gengar, and then you notice like she has the exact hair as Agatha from Elite Four and Gen 2, and it's just like, oh, of course, that's why she has a Gengar. Like that. This whole game is just bringing me so much joy. I love it, and I don't care if it runs at 3 frames a second. I'm gonna keep loving it.
Yeah, I love this game so much. Like I said, my favorite Pokemon game now, I'm sure. Like I've not been this engaged with a Pokemon game ever, probably. I mean, since the first one that I played, because it was that was new back then. But they've just been doing the same thing for so long with only slight variations, and they've slowly been tiptoeing towards this game. But they did a lot more than a tiptoe for this one. They took a huge leap forward, and it's why like I would not be upset if they just focused on Legends and Legends was the mainline series, or they brought all the stuff that they're doing in Legends to the mainline series. Because I honestly don't need walk around in grass and find a wild battle and catch that Pokemon. I don't really need that again. I like what we have here. And they can like scale back the damage and everything to go back to the old numbers if they want. I prefer these numbers. I prefer the more like volatile battles, I guess you would say. But like even if they want to scale it back for having competitive play in there, I think that's fine. But I really enjoy running around a world and seeing Pokemon and catching Pokemon and not waiting for the grass to shuffle and then getting into an encounter.
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head, Chris. And I mean, I've said it already, but my favorite Pokemon game, hands down. I know, Brian, I know, but it's it just does it.
It's very good. It's very good.
Despite the fact I don't agree, I can't argue against it. So, like, doesn't that speak volumes?
Yeah. Well, Bob, Brian, thank you so much for joining us as we got to gush about one of the earliest 2022 releases. Do you have anything you'd like to plug, Bob?
Oh, me? I don't know. If you're not sick of my voice yet, listen to 99 Questions. It's a lovely podcast I'm very proud of, where I interview a bunch of wonderful folks. Just look it up where podcasts are. Everyone knows the things. Go to Spotify or whatever. Yeah, but truly, thank you for having me. I'm never at a loss for talking Pokemon, and this game has just really hooked me in. So this is a great outlet for that. So thank you guys.
Of course. Brian, anything to plug?
Yeah, I've mentioned Draft Punks a couple of times. We had you guys on earlier this week to talk about our favorite Pokemon in the Arceus region. So if people want to check that out, please do. I'll also shout out our sister show, the Level Zero podcast, which continues to pump out just incredible content on the history of video games. The editing on that show, like you could be forgiven for thinking you're listening to NPR when you're listening to that show. It's just a really well-made show, and more people should listen to it. So Level Zero podcast, available everywhere. Check it out.
Yeah, Preston and Greg do great work. Chris, anything to plug?
Yeah, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Still not named yet. We're at 47 subscribers and we need 50 to name the channel. We appreciate your sub. If you're watching this on YouTube, you're already there. You're almost there. Push the button. God damn it. And if you're listening to this on a podcast app, we will have a link to our YouTube channel below.
And check out our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Spelunkers. I'm still playing all the old Pokemons as well. We're a little bit more than halfway through Gen 6. Almost finished up with that, so I can just play Arceus and other creature collectors.
You'll run into Ingo before you know it.
I already left him in the dust. Yeah, we would love to have you join our community there. We got a lot of streams, a lot of nights of the week. Chris, is you still doing some RE8 speedruns there on Wednesdays?
Yeah, I'm doing Resident Evil Village speedruns. I looked on speedruns.com, and if I submitted my time right now, I would be number 50, which I'm pretty happy about.
Oh,
wow.
Oh,
That's awesome.
Yeah. Haven't had a whole bunch of practice runs either, right? You've only done a handful.
I've done 2 since I started doing them now, but I also ran through the game like 8 times when it came out, or something like that.
Yes. Well, thank you everybody for joining us on this special bonus episode of Gotta Rank 'Em All. We hope you enjoyed us gushing about the newest Pokemon game. We had to do it. We will return to our regularly scheduled programming next week when we continue finalizing the most important decisions of our lives. We hope you are well until then, and remember, seek out all Pokemon.
Sneasler number 1.
Seek out all Pokemon.